Today's lesson objective is that students will use proportion to solve problems. So first of all, we need to know what proportions and ratios are. So a ratio is the comparison of two quantities. Comparison of two quantities or two numbers. And there are several ways that we can write ratios. We can write them 3 to 4, like that. We can write them 3 and then with a colon between the numbers. We still say it 3 to 4, but 3 colon 4. And then the third way is as a fraction, 3 over 4. And a proportion is when we have ratios that are equal. So a proportion is when two ratios are equal. So when we have two ratios that are equal to each other, we can use cross products to solve the proportions. Okay, so that's the main thing you're going to need to get from this is we're going to use cross products. All right, so you see the word product. When you see the word product, that reminds you of what operation? Multiplication, yes. So, in example 1, we've got the ratio of red marbles to green marbles is 6 to 5. There are 18 red marbles. How many green marbles are there? So first of all, it's important to pay attention to the word order. It says red first, and then green, red to green. And so the order of the ratio, the first number corresponds to the red, the 6 corresponds to the red, and the 5 corresponds to the green. So when you're setting up your proportion, we're going to use the ratio, red to green. Red is going to be on the top part of the fraction, and then the amount for green would be on the bottom. So you want to be consistent. The red, anything pertaining to the red always has to be on top, and anything pertaining to the green has to be on the bottom. So the ratio we said was 6 to 5, so I'll put a 6 on top and a 5 on the bottom. Then I told you that there were 18 red marbles, and so because it pertains to the red, that has to go on the top of the fraction. How many green marbles are there? I don't know, so I'm going to use an X to represent the number of green marbles. Okay, so now I can use cross products to solve this. I can multiply together 6 times X, and that's going to equal the other cross product, 5 times 18. So if you multiply 5 times 18 together, you get 90. And then I would divide both sides by 6. And so X equals 15. So that means that there are 15 green marbles. Okay, the next problem you're going to do on your whiteboards. So let me show you that problem. The ratio of bones in the human ear to bones in the skull is 3 to 11. There are 22 bones in your skull. How many bones are in your ear? So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure that one out for yourself. Okay, so when you set that up, you should have put the ear on top and then the skull on the bottom. And so the ratio was 3 to 11, so I have 3 on the top, 11 on the bottom. And then what you want to be careful of is you want to make sure that you put that 22 on the bottom because that's pertaining to the skull, and we said that the skull was going to be on the bottom of the fraction. So then you have 3 over 11 equals x over 22. You cross multiply, you get 11x equals 3 times 22, or 66. And so when you divide by 11, you get that there are 6 bones in the ear. Okay, so here we have some more examples. We're going to just solve these proportions. So example A, we have 3 over 9 is equal to 5 over m. So again, I'm going to multiply across, so 3 times m, and that's going to equal the other cross product, 5 times 9, or 9 times 5. So multiplying that out, that means that 3m is equal to 45. And then when you divide both sides by 3, you get that m is equal to 15. Okay, this next problem is for you to do on your own. So we have negative 5 over 2 equals y over 8. Try that on your own and pause the video. Okay, so you would multiply 2 times y, and that's going to equal negative 5 times 8, which means 2y is equal to negative 40. So if you divide both sides by 2, you should have gotten that y was equal to negative 20. All right. Got another one here for your notes. 6 over y minus 3 is equal to 2 over 7. Now you want to remember that your fraction bar is a grouping symbol. This y minus 3 is a group. So when I cross multiply the 2, it has to be times the y and the negative 3. So a good way to remember that is to write it in the parentheses like that, 2 times y minus 3. That way you'll remember that you have to distribute. And that's going to equal 6 times 7, our other product here. Okay, so if I distribute my 2, I get 2y minus 6 is equal to 42. And then I add 6 to both sides. So 2y is equal to 48. And then if you divide both sides by 2, you get that y is equal to 24. All right, so this next problem I want you to try on your own. Pause the video and see if you can figure it out on your own. Okay, so again, what you need to do on these is remember this is a group, and so I'm going to multiply 4 times g plus 3, and that's going to equal 5 times 7. So I distribute the 4, and I get 4g plus 12 is equal to 35. And if I subtract 12 from both sides, I get that 4g is equal to 23. And so dividing both sides by 4, I get that g is equal to 23 over 4. You can leave that as a improper fraction, or if you prefer, you can make it a mixed number. It would be 5 3/4. Okay, a rate is a ratio where we have two quantities with different units. For instance, miles per hour or feet per second. And a unit rate is a rate where the second quantity is 1. So in other words, how many miles can I drive in 1 hour? How many feet does an object fall in 1 second? Okay, so we're going to find the unit rate for the following problem. Example 1 says that Takeru Kobayashi ate 53.5 hot dogs in 12 minutes, and we're going to find the unit rate to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so what that means is that I want to know how many hot dogs he could eat in 1 minute. So we've got 53.5 hot dogs over 12 minutes. And I want to know how many hot dogs he's going to do in 1 minute. Well, x over 1 is just the same as x. And so really all this is a division problem. I just have to divide the 12 into 53.5. So that's what I'll do. 12 divided into 53.5. And I'm going to add myself a couple decimal places there because we want to do it to the nearest hundredth. 12 goes into 53 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. I subtract that. I have a remainder of 5. Bring down the 5. 12 goes into 55 still 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. And when I subtract that, I have 7. I bring down a 0. 12 goes into 75 times, which is 60. Subtract, I get 10. Bring down one more 0. And 12 will go into 108 times. So I want it to be to the nearest hundredth, so that means I need to look at the 5 here. Because an 8 is following it, I know that I need to round up. And so my answer is 4.46 hot dogs per minute. Okay, this next problem you can try on your own. Corey earns $52.50 in 7 hours. So I want to know, how much does he make per hour? What is the unit rate for that situation? Pause the tape and give it a try. So when you did that, you should have divided 7 into 52.50 to find out how much for 1 hour, and you get $7.50 per hour. Okay, this next one will be in your notes as well. We have example 3. A machine seals 138 envelopes in 23 minutes. So I want to know how many in 1 minute. So I've got 138 envelopes in 23 minutes. How many envelopes in 1 minute? And again, x over 1 is just x, so I just have to divide 23 into 138. And I believe that goes 6 times. Let's see here. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry the 1. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 1 is 3. So 13 or 138. So we get the same thing. And so that means that the machine does 6 envelopes per minute. Okay, and then we'll have one more problem for you to do on your own. Kelly drives 399 miles in 7 hours. Go ahead and pause the video and do that one on your own. Okay, so when you did that, you should have gotten, you divided 7 into 399, and your answer should have been 57 miles per hour. And that is all for this lesson. Thank you for watching.